Good morning. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. And contrary to the word just mothers, I'd like to greet Happy Mother's Day to all UBC mothers, mothers who have no children and yet have mothered others' children's children, and mothers who are considered mothers as a spiritual mother or any kind of mother. So we are celebrating you all today, not just mothers who have biological children. I want to celebrate every woman in this sanctuary and online. And I say to the mothers of their biological children, mothers who cared for other children, mothers who adopted other children, like my husband, and loved them as their own, a blessed Mother's Day to all. I will not be preaching from Proverbs 31 because for me it connotes a very perfect woman, a very perfect mother. So I'll be using some of the words there, but when you can find a perfect woman there, and a woman is actually the imperfect perfect. That's why I'm calling my message today, the mothers are the imperfect perfect. But because of Jesus in our hearts, we are privileged to move on from imperfection to the better person that we should be. This is my outline. I'd like to introduce to you to my outline. Mothers, the imperfect mothers. Who is a mother? The suitable helper or helpmeet. Who should celebrate the mothers? And then fourth, honoring your mothers. And then last, conclusion and challenge to everyone. So who is a mother? Slide 4, Isaiah chapter 66 verse 13 says, I will comfort you like a mother comforting her child. You will be comforted in Jerusalem. For a brief moment, I'd like to show you a video of which I want you to listen to every bit of the word that is in the video. Please.
Just give me 1 second.
Sure.
Sorry.
Hey. Hi.
2 minutes. Thank you. Hi, good afternoon. Sorry about that.
Hey, Ori.
Hi, nice
Hi.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Have you ever done one of these interviews over the camera before?
No.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about to get started with. It's not just a job. It's sort of probably the most important job. The title that we have going right now is Director of Operations, but it's really kind of so much more than that. Responsibilities and requirements are really quite extensive. First category for the requirements would be mobility. This job requires that you must be able to work standing up most or really all of the time, constantly on your feet, constantly bending over, constantly exerting yourself, a high level of stamina.
Okay.
That's a lot.
For how many hours?
135 hours to unlimited hours a week. It's basically 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
I'm sure you'll have a chance from time to time to maybe just sit down here and there, yeah?
You mean like a break?
Yeah.
No, there are no breaks available.
Is that even legal?
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like no lunch.
You can have
or-
lunch, but only when the associate is done eating their lunch.
I think that's a little intense.
No.
Not possible.
That's crazy.
Now, this position requires excellent negotiation and interpersonal skill. We're really looking for someone that might have a degree in medicine, in finance, and the culinary arts. You must be able to wear several hats. Associate needs constant attention. Sometimes they have to stay up with an associate throughout the night. Being able to work in a chaotic environment, if you had a life, we'd ask you to sort of give that life up. No vacations. In fact, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and holidays, the workload is going to go up, and we demand that with a happy disposition.
That's almost cruel. That's almost a very, very sick, twisted joke.
Worry about when there's time to sleep or...
Oh, no time to sleep.
Yeah, all-encompassing almost.
That's exactly right.
365 days a year?
Yes.
No, that's inhumane.
That's very insane.
The meaningful connections that you make and the feeling that you get from really helping your associate are immeasurable. Also, let's cover the salary. The position is going to pay absolutely nothing.
Excuse me?
No. Nobody's doing that for free.
Yeah, pro bono. Completely for free.
No.
What if I told you there's someone that actually currently holds this position right now? Billions of people, actually.
Who?
Moms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moms.
That's awesome.
And they meet every requirement, don't
Wow.
Oh my God. Moms are the best.
Yeah, there's no pay. They're 24 hours. They're always there.
Now I'm thinking about my mom.
they? Yeah, and what are you thinking about her?
I'm thinking about all those nights and everything.
Thank you so much for everything you do. I know it doesn't seem like I appreciate all of it, but I definitely do.
So, Mom, I want to say thank you for everything that you've done. I love you very much. You've been there through thick and thin. My mom is just awesome. She's awesome.
Some video, clip. I've been watching this for many, many years, and every time I watch it, I still have tears in my eyes. And I always remember my mother, biological mother, and the mothers who were mothers throughout my lifetime. Slide number 5, Proverbs 31:25-27. She is a strong person, and people respect her. She looks to the future with confidence. She speaks with wisdom and teaching others to be loving and kind. She oversees the care of her house. She is never lazy. Slide number 6. UBC family, my honor to introduce to you the Supermom. They're all Superman, Batman, American Man, whoever the heroes are, they're all fantasies. They're all made up by one mind. But this is real. The Supermom, who almost like have too many hands with her and too many feet. How can she do all that she does? How? The Supermom. Mothers or mother figures, the term mother or mother figures, like mothers, as close as mothers, all refer to the term mother. Individuals who play a nurturing and supportive role in a person's life, similar to a biological mother. While a biological mother is a parent who gave birth to a child biologically, a mother figure can be anyone who provides care, guidance, emotional support, regardless of their biological relationship to the individual. My biological mother is Azucena Susing. Her name is Susing. Mothers of my best friends in high school, I considered mothers. That's why if you look at my Facebook, my cover photo there is my mother and the other many mothers that I have. Bible school classmates who have their mothers, they were close to me, and other school lovers were like mothers to me. The term mother is a role, not just a relation. A mother figure is defined as someone who nurtures and supports us. So this has nothing to do with biological mother. It can be any woman who offers you nurturing, encouragement, and support. She also could be someone who provides you with food, shelter, and other basic necessities of life. Mother figures come in all different forms. Maybe an aunt is like a mother to you because your mother is working 24 hours a day in another company. A stepmom, a big sister, or somebody else that has helped to raise you and molded you, just like what the children sang today, somebody even who brought them and introduced them to Christ. I consider them all mothers. Pastor Willie's mama, Maria, his adoptive mother, she knew that she cannot bear a child. So when somebody asked her, can you take care of this baby? She gladly took him in and became his mother. He said, when they, later on in life, we tried to look for his biological mother, Willie found her in Cagayan de Oro. And we went there and Willie saw her. But, you know, the mother was crying, but Pastor Willie did not even cry. Because, you know, that woman is just her biological mother. She respected her, maybe even have something in his heart because he's the mother. But, you know, he was still thinking of the adoptive mother who took care of him all his life and introduced him to Jesus Christ. A mother she is positive, she's always optimistic, and sees the good in everything. A mother is passionate. She's driven by her beliefs and emotions. A mother is persistent. She doesn't give up easily. Sometimes you call her stubborn. And keeps striving for her goals. A mother is peaceful. She's calm, she's serene, and finds joy in tranquility. She needs time to her own. A mother is powerful. That's why the character mother in Chinese is, I tried to write this. The radical Nu is radical for mother or the woman. And then the Ma is for the horse. Together, they are a powerhouse. The Nu, the woman, and the horse, I think the etymology of a horse is before he's standing on his 4 feet, and then later on the Chinese calligraphers put him on his 2 feet, and then he's standing, and then there goes you are, the Ma, the horse. The mothers are not horses, but they can work like horses. That's why you call her Ma, mother. The mother is pretty. She is trying to be attractive. So sometimes when she is 24/7, just like the videos shown us, that sometimes she forgets to comb her hair. Sometimes she forgets to dress up well, just like a husband have seen him before, but she is pretty inside and outside when you first saw her. The mother is polite, she is well-mannered and respectful. The mother is praiseworthy. She is deserving of praise for her actions and character. She is patient. She is able to wait calmly and with tolerance. She tolerates all of us, different personalities. Husband has a different personality. The children, if you have 7, have different personalities. The mother is perceptive. She is insightful and observant, not noticing details others might miss. The mother is proud. She takes pride in her achievements and in her children's and husband's achievements. The mother is philanthropic. She is generous and charitable, dedicated to helping others. That's why sometimes when you buy groceries and you bought bag full of noodles, and then you found out in your pantry that there's only 1 bag of noodles, she has given them to someone else. The mother is precious, of great value, not to be wasted or treated carelessly. The mother is valuable, treasured, cherished, and needed. The mother is priceless. She is cherished, treasured, and beyond price. She is a super mom. And because she carries many hats, the mom role includes more than 20 different positions. That's why this video states that a man was interviewing operations manager, something like that, director of operations. And then he was telling us the qualifications. And these interviewees, they never knew that it's like a prank video, trying to insinuate and trying to say, there's a person really who have done all this, and she is mom. And when they realize it's really true. How many of you mothers have been paid by your husband and children when you did what you did? Not one single centavo. But mothers do. They work hard, but they will never get paid. Here is just a sampling of the different positions that a mother holds in the household. She is the chief financial officer. She is the child care director. She is the housekeeper. She is the laundry manager. All reds here, all whites here, all blues here, all hard clothes here. And she washes it like it is so organized. And after that, she folds them and even irons some of those that are needed to be ironed. You say, Sister Susan, some of us do not even do that because we have yayas, we have helpers, tabokan in the house. But you know, the mothers still organize everything. If there were no mothers, would the chabokan know how to do what they need to do? No, because you have mothers, everything is organized. She is the car motorcycle driver to some who knows how to drive. She is even the meeting and the event planner. She is also the kitchen manager. All pots and pans here, all stainless here, all ceramics here, all glasses here. So organized. Very organized. That's why the architects, the house designers like Alu and the family, they designed the kitchen so as there should be areas of cabinets, sliding doors, etc. for mothers, because it's from the mother's mind who needs to be organized. The mother is also sometimes the staff nurse. She nurses every one of us when we are sick. She's the conflict manager. When children fight, she is in between. She's also the interior manager. She arranges the bedroom, and then you say, after a week, you again design the whole sala because she thinks it's not right over here. The living room should be like this. The mother is the interior designer. She is also the chief operating officer. She is also the logical analyst. She is also the school teacher, the tutor. She is also the bookkeeper. She is also the physical therapy supervisor. She's a nutrition director. She is an MC when there are children's parties. She's a vacation planner. She is a healthcare provider and activity coordinator. Moms are burning the candle on both sides. Two sides of the candle. She's burning it. Results show that stay-at-home moms worked an astonishing 106 hours per week on average, which means they are working 15 hours a day, 7 days a week. So it would not be bad if you can treat her to lunch after church. Not only on Mother's Day, but every Sunday if you can. Because that's when she can relax and eat other people's food prepared for her. Genesis chapter 2, verses 18 to 23. Next slide, please. Then the Lord God said, I see that it is not good for the man to be alone. I will make the companion he needs one just right for him. 19. The Lord God used dust from the ground and made every animal in the fields and every bird in the air. He brought all these animals to the man, and the man gave them all a name. This is in creation time. 20. The man gave names to all the tame animals, to all the birds in the air, to all the wild animals. He saw many animals and birds, but he could not find a companion that was right for him. So, 21, so the Lord God caused the man to sleep very deeply. While he was asleep, God took one of the ribs from the man's body. Then he closed the man's skin where the rib had been taken. The Lord, 22, the Lord God used the rib from the man to make a woman. Then he brought the woman to the man. 23, and then the man said, finally, one like me, with bones of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She was taken out of a man, so I will call her woman. If you have read Genesis chapter 1 and Genesis chapter 2, in Genesis chapter 1, God created from day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6. On day 6, he created Adam and Eve, and the crown of his creation was on that last day, the creation of Adam and Eve. Then on day 7, he rested. But on chapter 2 of Genesis, you kind of read that it is rewritten from chapter 1. Inulit. The author, Moses, the author of Genesis, inspired by the Holy Spirit, described the summary of chapter 1 in chapter 2. In chapter 1, he only says he made man and woman. But in chapter 2, he described how Adam and Eve were created. And so there's a story of a little girl. She is about 5 years old. After church, she was asked by her mother, "What did you learn in Sunday school today? And what did you learn in class today?" And the little girl said, "We learned about how God made man and woman." So the mother was curious and said, "Well, how did God do it?" And the little girl said, "Well, this is what God did. He bent down, God bent down, and picked up some mud or soil, and then he made the man. And he breathed through that soil, and the soil became man. But then, the little girl said, he put the man to sleep. And then he took the brains and made the woman." Wrong. It was not the brains. No? Some people laugh at this because it's like taking the brains out of the man and putting it in the woman. That's the curious side of it. But actually, the Bible said took it from the rib. Okay, in Genesis chapter 1, verse 27, it said, "So God created humans in his own image. He created them to be like himself. He created them male and female." That's verse Genesis chapter 1. This verse states that God created humankind in his own image, both male and female. It emphasizes the inherent dignity and value of the human. There will be no dignity and there will be no value if we were just created from the mud and God was not in our image. This we should appreciate in the creation, because when God created us, he created us in his image. Regardless of gender, we are God's creation. The man nor the woman is neither superior to one another, contrary to what some people say, that the men are superior than the woman. It's not about the equality rights. It's about what God and how God created us. Because there is an important in why God took the rib of Adam from outside. Why did God use even the rib? Interestingly, ribs have amazing generative power. Portions of rib bones and cartilage removed in bone graft surgery will regrow, as they say, 1 or 2 months' time. As long as there is a parang litid or something, collagen or something left intact, it will regrow. So, even if God took the rib from Adam, it's not that Adam has only 11 ribs, but he still has the 12 ribs. That means that Adam's loss of rib was only temporary. He did not have to go through the rest of his life with an incomplete skeletal system. Hindi siya incomplete. God took a rib from Adam to make Eve. But this removal of the rib from Adam did not result in all men having one rib, having one less rib. There are some interesting reasons why this is true and why God chose to take the rib in the first place. Why the rib? A lot of people say it's in the rib because it's in the middle of his body. It did not, God did not take something from above, so the woman will become higher than the man. He did not take something from below, so that the woman will be trampled on by a man. But he took the rib, which is in the middle of the body, so that man and woman will be equal. Every descendant of Adam has the DNA encoding that produces 12 pairs of ribs. 24 ribs in total, the rib cage. So 12 plus 12. Adam's sons all have the same number. When you bear your children, they don't have one less rib. They are still 12 plus 12. Ribs regrow. Rib bones is unique and it can regenerate. So there's a reason why God took the rib from Adam's side. So when God created the woman from the rib of the man, Adam, he has an intention in mind. Let me go back to the premise that God, when he created from day 1, day 2, day 3, he did not create, sige na lang, create na lang kung anong gusto niya. He created with an intention. He created because of a need. Everything he created in the Garden of Eden was to meet a need. There was a need God is trying to meet. Woman, you are needed. You are necessary. You are important. You are vital. If somebody will say to you, hindi ka na kailangan, matanda ka na, hindi ka marunong umintindi, don't listen to them because God made you important. There's a Hebrew word which is taken from the Bible. It's called Ezer Kenegdo. Ezer is helper in Hebrew. God does not waste his time. Everything he created in the Garden of Eden is important. So someone will drop everything to rescue someone. This is Ezer. Ezer. Bible uses it in terms of military. You can see that the Hebrew word Ezer is used in the military exercises. An Ezer, a helper, is a warrior. An Ezer is in the military. She is a prayer warrior. She is a warrior for the right. She stands strong and ready to fight. The second word in Hebrew that's used in the Genesis chapter 1 and 2 is kenegdo. Kenegdo means suitable or corresponding to the opposite. Eve is Ezer kenegdo. We are Ezer kenegdo. We are not just an assistant. We are not just a secretary. We are not just, dyan ka lang, alagaan mo mga bata. We are equal. We are a partner. We are a suitable match and a lifesaver to our husbands, to people around us. Ezer kenegdo signifies Eve as a helper, emphasizing a powerful, vital, and equal relationship, but not a subservient one. Not a subservient one. The two words together highlights the depth of relationship, implying a companion who is equally crucial in their shared life. There's always beauty when the husband talks to the wife, when there are conflicts, when there are problems, when there are issues. Talk to the wife. Don't own the problem, because your wife was created to be your partner in everything. Genesis chapter 1, verse 27 emphasizes the inherent dignity and value of all women. The man nor the woman is neither superior to one another. Pag nakita natin ang mga malalaki, medyo tameme, huwag naman natin tayo na. No. Just always respect them. Always give them the last word in things. This is the reason why no amount of trials, no amount of adversities can break up the two, because each has the perfect understanding of the role. If we understand our roles, we are strong. The mother is not just a package of beauty and talents. She is a product of long years of school of hard knocks, things that you cannot get in the four corners of the classroom. She learned it in the school of life, in the university of life, because each family is different. Some of these mothers have been broken. Some of these mothers have been stirred. Some of these mothers have been churned, turned, and tossed from every side. Even when the family had crises, the mother has become the imperfect perfect. In Japan, which I like so much, there is an art form that is called kintsugi. Kintsugi is a kind of a pottery that was broken but very valuable, but they still want to use. So they use some form of a chemical or a lacquer, integrate it added with gold or silver, and they put together the broken pieces of a pottery or a bowl or a cup or a mug. They put it together, and lo and behold, it's even more beautiful than the original. This art of taking precious broken pottery and use this lacquer and silver and gold mends the fractures, but has created a more beautiful and resilient, much stronger than the original pottery. God can turn our imperfections into a masterpiece. The woman sometimes bears most of the crises in the family. When Pastor Willie has been diagnosed with brain tumor 2 times, it's not just 1 time, it's 2 times. And he had stroke 2 times. And he has diabetes, he has hypertension, because when he was young, he ate all the hot dogs, the supermarket food, the tocino, longanisa, etc. That's why you have to make your own tocino, longanisa. In God's time, women, we can heal our wounds and embrace our imperfections and become stronger. It reminds us that no matter the difficulties in the family or in yourself or in your loved ones, we can reframe and find meaning in life. Many mothers are like this as they allow God to mold them into a beautiful and strong woman of worth. Wow, woman of worth. The imperfect, perfect. Now, part 3, slide 8. Who should celebrate the mother? Now, I talk to you parents who are here, who have children who are already mothers, or are parents-in-law to another mother, wives of your sons. I'm talking to you. You should celebrate yourself and your daughters who are mothers already and have given you great grandchildren. I was talking to Sister Elena this morning, and she showed me her only grandchild. And she's amazing. But she did not speak Chinese with me. Honor her for the way she has become a mother. Do not compare her on her ways of mothering with what you are. Do not say, alam mo, nung ako nanay, ganito nga ginagawa ko. Don't ever do that. Let her mother her children well, because I'm sure you have taught her well. Now, I talk to you husbands who have wives, and I must say this with boldness, love your wives. In the same way, you husbands must give honor to your wives. Treat your wife with understanding as you live together. She may be weaker than you are, but she is your equal partner. This is the Chinese letter. You can see on the board. A woman. No, because it's like, I think from etymology, she is striding. That's why the extended leg. And she is like working. Always on the go. The woman. This character is two women. I think this spells, this means trouble. Two women is trouble. Two women is trouble. But, as they say, the woman with a child is good. How? Good. If you have one child, if you have one or two children, but at least one woman. But may I precaution you that the word from the Ping An, peace, there's one woman in one roof. Because if there's two women in one roof, that spells trouble. So only one woman in one roof. And if you have a side trip, leave that. Leave that. Because it's not God's intention for you. Ping An also, peace is like if you have peace, if you have one woman under one roof. So much so with my Chinese, I practice that. I have Chinese brass at home, and I always do that as part of my relaxation. I talk to you husbands, celebrate her by being loyal to her. Celebrate your spouse who is the mother of your children. Celebrate her for balancing being a good wife, managing the household, a mother, and sometimes they work outside in their business or professional work. It is a teamwork. You must be, spouses, husbands, you must be her greatest cheerleader. You must be her number one fan. Dapat hindi ang kaibigan mo na iba. Dapat hindi ibang tao. Ikaw ang dapat na number one fan niya. If a man loves sincerely the wives, listen to this, if a man sincerely loves the wife, it unlocks, binubuksan, it unlocks the best and excellence in her. Did you get that, men? If you sincerely love your wives, it unlocks the best and excellence in her. Hindi mo pa nakita ang the best side of her. A strong and loving partnership between husband and wife creates a stable and positive environment for children to thrive. As the saying goes, a happy wife is a happy family. No happy wife, no happy family. Because she will not cook, she will not clean the house, she will not do the laundry, she will not do, and family is a mess. As I say this, husbands, honor your commitment with her. You said, I will love her till death do us part. Honor your promises to her because she keeps tabs. Akala mo nakalimutan niyang pinramis mo na, darling, bibigyan kita ng ganito, bibili kita ng ganyan. Akala mo nakalimutan na rin niya. Hindi niya sinasabi, but she keeps tabs. She keeps tabs. She knows that. Now, I talk to you children. Tapos na tayo sa husbands, sa parents. I talk to you children, the young people who are here. Do not forget the teachings of your mother. Remember the sacrifices she made. The children, and this brings me to the next part of my message, honoring the mother or the parents, including na rin the father. Slide number 9. Exodus chapter 20, verse 12. You must honor and respect your father and mother. Do this so that you will have a full life in the land that the Lord your God gives you. Other translation says, do this so you will have long life. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 1 to 3. Children, obey your parents the way the Lord wants, because this is right thing to do. The command says, this is from the fifth commandment. The command says, referring to the Exodus chapter 20, verse 12, you must respect or honor your father and mother. This is the first command with a promise. If you read all the 10 commandments, wala silang kasamang promise. Ito lang ang the only commandment. Children, honor, respect your father and mother, because this is good and you will have long life on earth. But how do we honor the father and the mother? How do we honor them when our parents' expectations are so out of line? At least according to our point of view, the children's point of view, we feel we can possibly live up to their expectations about us. You wanted to be an artist, they want you to be a doctor. You wanted to be an architect, they want you to be an actress. So, sometimes the ones there are different. How do you honor them if you clash? How do we honor our parents when our parents continually criticize our appearance? Anak, parang medyo mababa yung dito mo sa gitna. Tsaka anak, may spaghetti strap ka. Makikita na ng lahat yan. Anak, naka-miniskirt ka. They constantly tells us that we don't look good. Criticize our appearance and our choice of career, our friends. Anak, ano ba yung kaibigan na dinala mo dito sa bahay? Parang pagkaupo niyan, ganun, sa couch. And then that even saying, good morning or good afternoon, tita. Gusto ko si ano, kasi, hello po, opo, tita po, ganyan-ganyan. Gusto ko yun. They constantly criticize our friends. How, or if you're married, how we raise our children, uy, ano ba yan? Masyado mo anong anak mo? Masyado, baka sobrang labas na yan. Kami kasi ni Pastor Willie, mula pa sa bata, sila Mark and Tim, hatid sundo yan. Kahit na nagsasakripisyo kami, hatid sundo. Pero si Mark, yung anak niya, sabi niya, sige, ipagrab kita, punta ka sa mall. Ha? In times like this, parang hindi ko kaya, no? Pero kinakaya ko na lang. I tried my best to honor and respect his parenting style. So how do we honor our parents when our parents begin to decline in health and require more from us than we are able to provide? There are so many questions. So how do we honor our parents? Number one, honor your parents by accepting them. Proverbs 23:22. Listen to your father who gave you life, and do not despise your mother's experiences when she is old. Listen to your mothers, listen to your fathers. Be interested in what they say. Minsan kasi may mga mother na hindi din sila mag-impose. They do not want to impose. But in spite of that, in spite of your parents' faults and failings, we are instructed to honor them. In the courts of law, pag pumasok ka sa isang court, in the courts of law, we call the one in the middle with a black robe, your honor. That has absolutely nothing to do with her personality. But we call her your honor. Because we are honoring their position and their status. We should honor our mothers. On my birthday, people greets me. But I call my mother to greet her and tell her, thank you for giving birth to me. Panata ko na yon, ginagawa ko yun nung buhay pa siya. Tinatawagan ko siya to thank her for giving birth to me. And because her birthday is leap year, February 29, dapat every 4 years lang ako mag-greet sa kanya. But kahit na hindi leap year, I call her the middle of February 28 before mag-March 1. I call her in the middle of the night. Total gising pa naman siya. And thank her for giving birth to me. Honor your father and your mother. A commandment that calls for respect, obedience, and care for one's parents. It highlights the value of family relationships and the importance of honoring those who have provided and cared for you. Number 2, honor your mother's parents by appreciating them. Hindi naman siguro mahirap na, wow, mang, sarap nitong tomatoes, eggs with tomatoes. Gusto ko nga yun, yung eggs na inaano muna, piniprito muna hanggang sa lumambot, tapos tsaka ilagay ang eggs. Sarap. Nag-mix talaga tuloy ang tomatoes doon sa eggs. That little thing matters to the mother. Because talaga nag-effort din siya sa pagluto eh. Nag-effort siya. There's a story about na pinapanood ko ang family ko nito. There's a movie in 1994 na ang pangalan niya is Trading Mom or The Mommy Market. Ewan ko kung napanood niyo yun. It's a good film to watch with family. It tells of a story of the 3 children. Ang mom nila, gustong ganitong gawin nila. You wake up and you take your bags, you take your etc. and be ready for school. And then aral, messy ang kwarto mo, pick up your dirty clothes and put them in the hamper, put them etc. So parang, hi mom! Napakaingay mo, dami mong sinasabi. So ang mga bata, parang they're tired of their mother who is so nagging, who is always compelling to do it. But their mother takes them to trips, but their mother remembers them because wala na silang father. So they said, 3 of them nag-connive. Sabi natin, sabi ng mga bata, let's talk together, and magically, they were able to disperse their mom. Story lang to movie lang So nawala yung mom. Sila na, nagluto sila kung anong gusto nila sa kusina, gumawa sila ng ganitong ginagawa nila. But eventually, they realized na, paano na lang ang ganito natin? Paano ang mga dapat natin gawin? Paano ganito? So they realized, yeah, we really need a mom. So, nakita nila there's an advertisement. Let's go to the mommy market. In the mommy market, there's different kinds of mom. You can choose different moms that suits you. So, pagpasok nila sa entrance, they were given 3 kasi 3 sila. So, one of them, each has a choice to choose a mother. So, nag-ikot sila. ang panganay, sabi niya, ito ang gusto kong ma'am. So they took her home. Ay masyadong maraming hinahanap sila, masyado ding demanding yung mommy na yon. So they put her back. So balik sila ulit. Mommy number 2, inuwi nila and they lived with her. Hindi rin, nag-fit. And then balik sila, they took mommy number 3 and it didn't nag-fit. So eventually they end up without a mother. And while they were on the streets thinking, na-miss ko tuloy yung mama ko, sabi nila. So they went to sleep, in their sleep, na ano nila na the mother is calling, the real mother is calling, and bumalik na pala ang real mother nila. And so they were so happy to have their mothers back with all her flaws, with all her mistakes, with all her kakulangan. Naging happy family sila. So, for us, children, young people, you cannot choose a mother. By the way, there's no mommy market. It's not as, even if you have millions of pesos and you can buy a mother, no. There's no mother. You only have mothers and you need to appreciate them. Appreciate and respect the positives, do away with the negatives, and even if we find our parents difficult, we can still appreciate them for their efforts. Ma, gusto ko nga itong luto mo, pero thank you kasi nag-effort ka. Parenting is a difficult, time-consuming, and demanding. Parenting is also costly. There's one boy who lived throughout his life after he graduated in college. He worked, he's 23 years old now, and then his mother was with him because the father passed away. And then one day he said to his mother, Ma, this is my bill for you. What is this? Financial statement. Huh? The mother said. The bill read, for staying in my condominium, my apartment, a month, 5,000. Using the TV 2 hours a day to watch your Korean and Chinese movie, 2,000 a month. Using internet so you can connect with your Facebook friends, 500 a month. Eating food that I bought from the groceries, your meals, 3,000 a month. Total bill, sabi ng anak sa statement, 10,500 a month. Nagulat ang mama. And so the mother, to rebut his son, the mother gave the son a bill. Ano lang yan? Revenge. Providing all your meals for since the time you were born up to the time you started working 23 years ago, 750,000. Allowing you to live in my home for 20 years, 500,000. Nursing you and caring for you day and night when you were sick for 3 months, at least once a year for 23 years, 300,000. Total bill, the mother said. I love you. If that doesn't move you, the love of the mother is like that. Naintindihan ba ng mga bata ito? Let's appreciate our mothers for their efforts and sacrifices. Number 3, honor your parents by affirming them. Do not withhold good from those who deserve it. It's when it's in your power. Kahit sabi mo, mayain ako. No. If you know that you need to appreciate, say thank you. Ito ang mahirap ituro eh. Kaya nga sa Bible, di ba, explicit yung story. At 10 lepers, isa lang ang bumalit at nagpa-thank you. Kasi mahirap sa tao magpasalamat. Kahit na they are very grateful, they are shy to say so. But when it comes to the person you love and who gave you life as mother, do not withhold saying thank you. Acknowledge what they are doing is right. Mom, that's a great idea, although I'm not buying it. Mom, you did well in that situation. Siguro naman merong tama sa ginagawa niya. It is tragic when some people give tributes to their mother or father only at the funeral. I don't want to listen. Sana mas maganda habang buhay sila, bigyan nyo ng rosas. Give flowers, give bouquets. Habang buhay sila, commend them, affirm them. Hindi yung patay na sila, paano pa nila marinig? Wala na. They're dead. Don't wait for that. A day might come that we are not able to make amends. No amount of expense on a funeral is able to equal to thank you, a visit or a phone call, a letter. Now when we have the opportunity to mag-Skype kayo, mag-Zoom kayo, wala nang excuse actually ngayon to communicate. I'm finishing. Honor our parents by not abandoning them. Ngayon, may mga trabaho ka na, may kondo ka na, panay bakasyon dito, punta doon, but you never remembered your mother, even to visit. How to juggle with our aging parents' needs with your own responsibilities is a complex problem. I understand that for most people, for most young people. We honor them by accommodating them in some positive and practical way. Slide 11. Third word on the cross. And this is the example of Jesus. Third word from the cross, di ba may 7 words siya sa cross? John 19:26 to 27, woman, he's referring to his biological mother, Mary. Woman, behold your son, referring to John, his beloved, a member of his inner circle. Woman, behold your son. Son, behold your mother. Paano yun? Hindi naman nanay ni John si Mary. When Jesus was crucified, his mother and a number of women who were there had followed him, remained by the cross. And then, with them was just one disciple. The only disciple who was there was John. In the Roman law, in those days, they allow someone who is crucified could make a legally binding last will and testament doon na sa cross to settle their affairs. So, Jesus was making a legal action. Pwede kasi siyang gumawa ng last will and testament. Here, just before his death, Jesus had only one last thing to sort out. Para bang mamamatay na siya, inisip pa niya ang mother niya o si John, mamamatay na siya, dapat ang pain, kasi pinainom pa siya ng vinegar, binutasan pa siya dito sa gilid. How could he think of his mother? But Jesus gave us an example that even he, the Son of God, who was a stepfather, Joseph, but his mother is Mary, wanted to honor his mother on that day. So, as the darkness gathered that afternoon, he turned to his mother and to his friend John and hands her to his care. Jesus was one child who knew more than his mother or stepfather. Alam niya kasi marunong siya, he is a son of God. And yet, he took time to honor his parents and not good parenting, honoring our parents, not only impacts them, but it also impacts us. Challenge, the conclusion. Motherhood in the Bible is not a fairy tale. If you read some parts of it or stories of it, Ruth was left childless and a widowed at a young age. Rachel, Hannah, and Sarah were infertile. Hindi sila magkaanak. Even Mary lost their sons under different and terrible circumstances. Two mothers of the two kings, both named Ahaziah, encouraged their sons to be wicked and unjust. The prodigal son acted with a terrible disrespect towards each of his parents. Diba? Umalis siya. Gusto niyang gastos ng lahat na pera ng yun ang prodigal son. So, in the Bible, motherhood is not a fairy tale. The fairy tale of marriage and motherhood is just that, a fairy tale. Sa culture naman natin, we honor the mother by wala tayong mga, apparently, yung mga homes, we do not allow people to take care of our mothers. We take them in. But sometimes, even if they're in, we reject them. We do not give them time. Our culture have a different view on this. Even though we have mothers who are imperfect, think of the way she loved you, she cared for you, and she has given her life for you. And even though, mothers, you are imperfect, you can still become perfect in the Lord. I have no 1,000 bill, I forgot, but let's just imagine this is a 1,000 bill. The worth of this 1,000 bill is 1,000. If I put it on the floor, it can gather dust. So it's like a dusty 1,000 bill. But even with the dust, what is the worth of this bill? Still 1,000. If I crunch this 1,000 bill, it's no longer the beautiful, crisp 1,000. But what is its worth? Still 1,000. So mothers, we have gone through life with difficulties, with challenges, but we are still worth the worth that we are in the eyes of God. Mothers, we are celebrating you, the imperfect, perfect, because God loves you. God bless you all.